For 11 months of the year, Kiki happily does a Disney podcast with her good friend Tuesday. But for 1 month...
Ho, 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 no. It's a holiday extravaganza! Happy holidays, Kiki.
Happy holidays, Tuesday.
Our Christmas episode is here. Thanks to a certain wall crawler. We're only doing one Christmas episode this year, which relieves you because you're usually not into the Christmas specials.
Yeah, not so much.
But we got something good, something I know that you will like. The Muppets. Know you love you some Muppets.
Yeah, my cousin asked on Facebook the other day if you could remove a Christmas movie from existence, what would it be? And my answer was all the ones that don't have Muppets in them. The ones with Muppets can stay, all the rest get out.
There are quite a few Muppet Christmas specials. And we are going with a recent addition to Disney Plus, and that is a Muppets Christmas Letters to Santa. And apparently you had never heard of this because when this got announced, you thought this was a brand new thing.
Yeah, and then when I did the rewatch, it turns out that I had seen this when it came out, because once I was doing the rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember this. And it just, I didn't remember the title of it. So it was one of those things that once I actually started watching it, I was like, oh, I do remember this. Yeah.
So yeah, this is from 2008, which is right after Disney had fully acquired the Muppet as a whole. But this did not air on a Disney-owned network. This aired on NBC, which I assume was some sort of leftover contract from years past. Hey, you owe us a couple of these TV specials of things.
Yeah, it was very much a legacy thing, I feel. It still has that pre-Disney Muppet feel to it.
Yeah.
It sits right in that spot of Jim is gone, Disney isn't here yet, and we're all still in that phase of not quite knowing where we're at with this thing. But it's very late in the process for that. Because like you said, this is 2008.
And it would be a few years before Jason Segel would make his movie, and that would really start the resurgence of the Muppets.
Yeah, so this is in the... do we call it the Muppet Dark Age?
I guess.
I don't really know what to call this period, because there was good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is still the Muppet Treasure Island and the Muppet Christmas Carol era. So there's good stuff being made, and by the same people who made this.
Yeah.
This is yet another Kirk Thatcher joint.
Yeah, Kirk Thatcher, who's done so many Muppet projects, including the most recent Muppet Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, which we need to get around to that.
Maybe for next Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, if you hadn't seen it, we did talk about our thoughts on it, but that was a good one. Really looking forward to more like that. And we've talked about it before that Kirk Thatcher knows what he's doing with the Muppets. So this is another one by him. And we've got Paul Williams back.
Yeah, doing... there's a bunch of original songs in this special, all written by Paul Williams. The only non-original song would be the opening song, which is just Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the version by the Crystals.
And Paul Williams involved in the screenplay and story as well.
And actually gets a cameo in this movie.
Yeah, really funny and interesting cameo. So, I mean, we've got Muppet legends behind the scenes as well. This is not one of their better remembered projects, but it's also not kind of a throwaway behind the scenes.
This is really weird. In the version that's on Disney Plus is 45 minutes, which apparently was the original television airing, because there's even parts where you can tell where commercials are inserted. But there is an extended version. Now, Wikipedia lists it as 80 minutes. But Thatcher has said that this is wrong. There is an extended version of the film, but it's only 55 minutes, and that's on the Blu-ray. I don't know why they didn't just upload the extended version onto Disney Plus. 10 minutes can't be that big of a deal.
I don't know. There are bits of this that come from another special that they were intending to produce, and they never did. So they took part of the plot and shoehorned it into this. It was going to be an election special for that year, because this came out in 2008. And they were going to do an election special called The Muppets Run for President.
Gonzo for president.
There's not too much that still is known about it, at least kind of publicly. But apparently some parts of that special were, at least the script of it, were taken and used in this. But it's never really been told which bits ended up in this.
I highly doubt Santa Claus was involved.
I doubt it too, but I think maybe the fact that they're all in New York or something is probably the bits that were used. Maybe some of the jokes, the fact that the New York mayor at the time shows up for cameos and stuff like that. I was going to mention
that, yeah.
But it is kind of interesting that they're cribbing from other projects that they never got to make.
You've mentioned the mayor. That was Mike Bloomberg, who was the mayor of New York at the time. And, you know, you can't have a Muppet special without your celebrity cameos. You've got Whoopi Goldberg. You got Nathan Lane. My own critique about it is you get Nathan Lane, who is a Broadway legend, in a musical special, and you don't have him sing. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know either, but whatever. Speaking of Broadway legends who do actually sing in this, you've got Jesse Martin.
Yeah, Jesse
showing
Martin
up for a whole musical number there at the beginning.
Yeah, Jesse Martin. Recent fans might know him for his role on The Flash, but of course got his start on Broadway, Rent. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the original cast members of Rent. Yeah. You got Uma Thurman showing up at one point in a...
I mean, she did sing in The Producers. I don't know if you wanted to have her sing in this one or not.
Yeah, she doesn't really sing in this, but she does have a very adorable bit as Joy, the airline hostess for North Pole Airlines.
I mean, if there's any woman for Pepe to simp on, it's going to be Uma Thurman.
Yeah, Pepe immediately goes creepy with it. That is a whole through line there. But Jane Krakowski shows up as well as the mom of the little girl. Richard Griffiths, who people will remember as the uncle from the Harry Potter movies, probably best, shows up as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then we talked about that Paul Williams cameo. Paul Williams shows up as Santa's main elf.
At least Paul Williams can have a joke at his own height.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Paul Williams has always had that sense of humor about himself. But not the first time, of course, that Paul Williams has been on screen with the Muppets. I mean, he did show up on the Muppet Show.
The man wrote Rainbow Connection.
Yeah, I mean, that alone gets him into the pantheon of people you gotta love. So I think as far as cameos in this goes, the Nathan Lane one is is my favorite because he's just the TSA guy that goes way too far with it.
Kind of dating this special because we get two actors from Sopranos totally not playing their characters from Sopranos. No, we're not. No, we got to keep this copyright free, even though Swedish Chef calls one Paulie.
Both of them get listed in the credits and on IMDb as just mobsters. But yeah, Steve Sciarippa and Tony Sirico, I think that's how you pronounce his name. They show up and do their little. This one is for the adults watching, because hopefully you're not letting your children watch Sopranos.
The plot in this one is very thin in that it's Christmas Eve. The Muppets are sending all of their letters on Christmas Eve. That is a bad idea. Your letters are never going to get there if you mail on Christmas Eve. Why are you mailing on Christmas Eve? But they mess up, and Gonzo still has the letter to Santa by their neighbor Claire. And since it's Christmas Eve and now the post office is closed, the Muppets have to travel to the North Pole to deliver Claire's letter to Santa Claus personally, and hijinks ensue.
Yeah, the other part of the plot is that Claire and her mom are going to be basically the only people left in the building for Christmas because the Muppets are all of their neighbors, and the Muppets are all going on vacation. Different vacations. Like Kermit and Miss Piggy are going to go to some Caribbean island because Miss Piggy wants to go get in a bikini and suntan or something.
Because he's a Caribbean.
Amphibian. He likes to hop in the tropical sea. Caribbean amphibian. A frog in the coconut tree.
I think Gonzo and Camilla are supposed to go somewhere, and
Electric Mayhem are going their own place. Yeah,
everybody's got to go somewhere. And Claire and her mom are going to be alone, and Claire is very sad because she wants to be with her friends for Christmas.
And Claire's mom is happy because she doesn't like the Muppets.
Yeah, Claire's mom is like, yay, there will be no hijinks for Christmas. Yeah, so there's two plots going on here. Is we've got to get Claire's letter to the North Pole, and also this little girl is going to be very sad because she's going to be all alone except for her mom on Christmas.
I must give this movie a little bit of credit because we have a biracial family, because we have the white mom with the black daughter.
It is that we never see the dad. So we don't know if there is a dad, or, if it's like a divorce situation, or if the dad is like
gone
in the military, or if it's an adoption, or, and
they never make it. They never spotlight it. They just say,
it's complete non-issue. It's just, this is a mom, this is her daughter, end of story, which I like.
Yeah.
Because it's none of our business.
So, and they come up with different ideas. My favorite of the wacky Muppet hijinks is our appearance of Bunsen and Beaker. Bunsen has invented a wish-granting machine that will grant any wish. All you have to do is think of it, puts it on Beaker, and Beaker wishes for a beautiful woman.
Yeah, there is a supermodel or whatever, I guess.
I love how Bunsen is like, okay, Beaker, wish this woman back home. We don't need this beautiful woman here. We need to get to North Pole. And Beaker is like, screw that. I'm going to get me some, and then wishes himself and the beautiful woman away.
Yeah. The kind of interesting thing, though, about this film is that this is mostly Gonzo's story.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. Most of this era of the Muppets was really centered on Gonzo. Even the most recent one with the Muppet Haunted Mansion, and I think a lot of that has to do with Dave Gold, because he is the last of the original Muppeteers.
Well, the last one that is still actively performing with the Muppets.
Frank Oz is caught on to do his own thing, but Dave Goelz is kind of the last man standing of the original Muppeteers, still working with the Muppets. And since he has that experience, elder statesman, as it were, I guess a lot of writers feel like let's center this around Gonzo. And a lot of our circle of friends have always identified with Gonzo because he was always the weirdo. As in several stories, he's always referred to as a weirdo. And a lot of our circle of friends, even us, have felt like we were the weird one. And if you're the weird one among the Muppets, that says a lot.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that you really love Gonzo's spirit in this, because usually Kermit is the one who is the bringer together of the Muppets.
He's the default leader of the Muppets, and he's always coming up with the ideas and the plans. And
yeah, if someone is going to, have a plan, get the Muppets together, do the thing, it's gonna be Kermit. And in this special, it's not. They realize what a difficult task getting this letter to Santa will be. And Kermit's kind of like, well, sucks for that kid. I've got to go off to an island beach for Christmas with my girlfriend. See ya.
Which is sort of out of character for Kermit.
It is a little bit. I mean, it's very in character for Kermit of the time that he's very... Miss Piggy shows up and she's like, you are not doing this. And Kermit's kind of like, okay, I'm not doing this. That's again, a little more in character. But
it is in character for Piggy.
Yeah, it's very in character for Piggy, but Kermit just kind of goes along with it. He's like, yes, dear. But
that's why they broke up.
Yeah, it was never really a good relationship. But Gonzo is the one who puts his foot down and is like, I do not care if everybody else abandons this project. I am going to see this through. And he's the one that gets the song.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, open your heart, let's do this. And it reaches Kermit and Fozzie, and yeah, they're all in. They're going to help Gonzo do this.
Yeah, it's all about heart is the name of the song, and it is really cute. And he gets Fozzie and Kermit and Rizzo and Pepe.
Okay, let's put this here. Pepe and Rizzo are going there because they want to see these three fail.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the other two are swayed by the emotion of the song. Gonzo is the emotional core of this instead of Kermit for once, which is what I find compelling about this special.
Even at the beginning of the special, they show that Claire and Gonzo are like the closest of friends, at least as far as the special is concerned. Because once they get back from the post office, Claire immediately goes to Gonzo and saying, "Hey, did you deliver my letter?" Said, "Yeah, I got it." And then so it's implied in this special that these two are close, or at least close to a little girl and a Muppet, whatever can be. From Gonzo's point of view, he let his friend down, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make it right. It's a nice thing coming in, especially in this kind of a special. You've got this character, Gonzo, who, yes, he's a weirdo. Yes, he's a whatever. Yeah, but Gonzo has this big heart and is really showed off in this special. He really cares about Claire. He wants to make sure he doesn't let Claire down and make sure Claire gets what she wants for Christmas. And so, yeah, he's going to do whatever. Even if the other Muppets bailed on him, he was going to try to make it work by himself, which would have been a very interesting special if they had gone that direction of just Gonzo on his own. But it wouldn't have made, it wouldn't have made Kermit look any good. So you got to put Kermit and Fozzie in there.
Yeah. Well, it would have been out of character for them to completely abandon it. They can forget themselves for a minute or two, but for them to completely abandon it would not be keeping in character for them. But, they need to go to the North Pole, so they find a flight, and they meet up with Uma Thurman, and Pepe is immediately a skeeve about it.
Uma Thurman is still pretty good looking, but yeah, Pepe, ease off on the perving.
Well, there's a good looking person, and there's Pepe. You're only getting away with this because you're a Muppet,
Yeah, we do get another dated reference as Pepe has a BlackBerry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a funny scene where he has like 5 different cell phones: a BlackBerry, a Raspberry, a Blueberry, and a Halle Berry.
Yeah.
The man carries around a framed picture of Halle Berry, and then was just perving on Uma Thurman.
Well, like you do.
Like you do. So anyway, we get to Nathan Lane as a TSA officer who is just, I don't like the look of them Muppets. I'm going to make their life a living hell.
Well, Gonzo does get on the X-ray machine conveyor belt.
I like his explanation. I haven't been to the doctor in a while. That's a cheap way to get your X-rays looked at.
I will say I felt for Gonzo in that moment because I have considered that once or twice. Like, could they maybe just scan? Like, would that work?
I mean, I've seen X-ray machines for luggage. I used to work at an airline, so I've seen like the really big X-ray machines where they put multiple bags at once. So like a person could fit in one of those. So if you wanted to, you could probably get in there. I don't know if you'd be able to survive once you get out, but you could fit in there.
I mean, it's a thought. Then again, Gonzo's a Muppet, so he can probably survive anything.
I mean, it's canon that he's an alien, so who knows?
They've kind of walked that back. It's one of those things now of, how some things like the thing about Kermit and Piggy getting married,
yeah,
is now officially.
That was a movie that never happened.
Was a movie they were making, and that wasn't a real thing that happened in the lives of the Muppets. Like, sometimes their characters and things happen in their real life, and sometimes they're actors in a movie.
It depends on what piece of media they want to consider canon these days.
Yeah, and so whether or not Gonzo is an alien keeps going back and forth between that was Gonzo acting in a movie in which he played an alien. And I think that's the current Disney line, is that Muppets from Space was a movie that the Muppets made in which Gonzo played an alien.
The current Disney canon goes the Muppet movie, the Muppet Show, everything else was a movie, then 2011 Muppets, and then the Muppets ABC show.
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan Lane he doesn't like the way the Muppets look. He wants to dechain them, and he's being a complete Richard to them just because TSA has never taken a person into a room based on the way they look. Oh no.
No.
Subtle commentary. So Nathan Lane, he takes the Muppets into the interrogation room and just berates them for the fact that, we're going to the North Pole to see Santa Claus. And at first, because throughout this entire special, Pepe and Rizzo are making fun of Gonzo because he still believes in Santa Claus, saying Santa is...
Which is, like, really interesting at a TV special that is aimed for kids.
Yeah.
The Muppets were not always aimed at kids. We've talked about this before. The Muppets were for adults that kids could watch.
The first Muppets television special was called Sex and Violence.
Yeah, I mean, but by the time of this special, the Muppets were
family friendly, I guess.
For families with adult jokes.
Yeah.
But for something that they're assuming at this point is primarily going to be aimed at children, to just have a whole subplot of Santa Claus is not real is kind of interesting.
Yeah. So, like, they make fun of Gonzo and Fozzie and Kermit for believing in Santa Claus. Like, Santa isn't real. You know, even when they try to figure out, oh, maybe we can email Santa Claus. Yeah, fatman@idon'texist.com.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
But somehow in character for Pepe. Not so much Rizzo, but definitely Pepe.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're in the interrogation room. Nathan Lane makes fun of them for believing in Santa Claus and saying that he stopped believing in Santa Claus because Santa never gave him the tricycle he wanted when he was a kid because he was a bully. A bully growing up to be a figure of authority. That doesn't happen in real life.
No.
And it's sort of a sped up version of the Grinch story, because over the course of this 5-minute scene, he goes through the whole heart grows 3 sizes bit, because these Muppets want to deliver this little girl's letter to Santa Claus. And like in this whole 5-minute scene where he bears his soul and saying that Santa never gave me that tricycle when I was a kid, and oh, it's not too late to be a good person. Get on that plane. Wow, you must have really only had Nathan Lane for like one day. What a special
Yeah.
scene. But it's a nice scene. I mean, if anything, it feels like a parody of a Christmas movie in that 5 minutes.
Yeah, they really did speed run character development in this one scene, but it is a cute moment, and it is my favorite of the celebrity cameos.
And as you said,
because you would, a lot of celebrities come in and they do their cameo and they kind of phone it in, but Nathan Lane just kind of gives it his all in this one little scene.
And they go through the whole gambit of kind of just like these Muppets rubbing me the wrong way, and there's the bear rubbing, giving him a hand rub. Like, what are you doing? I'm rubbing you the right way.
Creepy, but okay.
Is that like this thing is a children's special? Anyway, so yeah, they're able to get out of the interrogation room, but they ended up missing the flight by just that much. And as someone, I've worked in an airport, seeing that happen to people where they arrive just as that door is closing, you see the pain in their faces, and they're like, "Oh, I feel you, Muppets. I feel you."
I've never actually missed a flight, but I came very close once because the person who was giving me a ride to the airport was late. And I was like, if I miss my flight, I will end you. And I had paid for the checked bag and everything, and I was fortunate enough that the bag I intended to check was small enough that I could carry it on. And I'm going through the TSA and I'm like, just throw that away. Throw that away. I don't even care. Like, just get me on my plane. So I ended up just throwing away a bunch of items that couldn't be in carry-on, but I was like, I don't care. I will replace it on the other end. Just get me on my flight. And I barely made it. I made it like I was the last person aboard, but I made it before they closed the door. So that was the closest I ever made it. And I texted from the plane. I was like, you get to live.
And so, yeah. So, Joy, the attendant who just pops up everywhere in this movie, gets an idea to get them on the plane, as in literally on the plane, as in there's a scene of them grabbing the wing of the plane as it's taking off.
They really missed a trick here where they just needed somebody to do a Shatner-esque there's a thing on the wing cameo, and it's just Gonzo as the gremlin on the wing, like, hi.
Was John Lithgow busy?
Yeah, I don't know. What was John Lithgow doing at the time? He could have redone that scene.
So, how was your trip, sir?
Horrifying at first. I looked out the window and I saw something on the wing of the plane. The same thing happened to me.
I understand this is a TV special, but that was not a very good looking CG plane.
Yeah, they did not have a great budget for their effects here for this scene with them on the wing of the plane, and then I think we're over the North Pole now. 3, 2, 1, jump! And then they're falling through the blue screen sky and falling into the snow But they make it to the North Pole and they meet
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams as an elf, and
they're just too late as Santa has just left for his nightly ride. So they missed him by a moment.
Missed it by that much.
Which is, it kind of breaks Gonzo. In that moment.
Poor Gonzo.
Like he did all of this just for Claire, and right at the last second, because he was just a few seconds late, he misses Santa. He misses his chance to keep his promise. And there's a nice, beautiful song here. I Wish I Could Be Santa Claus, which, it shows more of Gonzo's heart. I would have the world and give it all away and all that stuff. And it's a very beautiful song.
It was nominated for an Emmy. And it lost to Hugh Jackman's opening number from the Oscars for that year.
How come comic book movies never get nominated? How can $1 billion be unsophisticated?
It is a nice little sweet song that they all sing about, the power of giving and
that's what the holidays are all about. Giving love, opening your heart and giving through love.
Yeah, not necessarily material things, but just this whole thing is about Gonzo going out of his way. I mean, Gonzo and his friends, of course, but specifically Gonzo going out of his way to do something nice for his friend.
Yeah.
And to correct a mistake.
A mistake he caused.
Yeah, it was his mistake, so he's trying to correct a mistake. He didn't mean to do it, but he's trying to make it up to his friend there.
Yeah.
Which is not a material thing. It's not something he bought or anything, but it's, Gonzo screwed up and now he's trying to make it better, even though it's very difficult to do. Which is a good lesson.
Yeah.
For everybody.
And the power of this song is so great and so heartfelt that Santa turns around and just shows up. Say, I heard your song and I can't let someone be this sad on Christmas. Oh, Santa, there are so many sad people on Christmas, but this one whatever gets to,
The power of the whatever.
I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Santa can't let anybody be sad at Christmas, Santa sucks at his job.
They finally meet Santa Claus and they finally discuss what's going on and say, hey, these letters fell in my bag when we were at the post office. We've been trying to send them to you. Can you help us out? I said, yeah, let's read these letters. And the first letter to Santa is from Pepe. Which
Pepe, you little scampy.
Yeah, a little scampy, shrimpy prong person. So yeah, it turns out Pepe does believe in Santa Claus, and he wanted to send his letter to Santa, and he wishes to become an opera singer, and apparently Santa can do that. As Pepe says, "Well, I don't know how to sing." Well, you do now. Again, who needs music lessons? Just write a letter to Santa. Okay.
Well, if I'd have known it was that easy.
Right?
Yeah.
Where's my record contract for that? So yeah, Pepe is instantly now an opera singer, and they open up the second letter, and it's from Nathan Lane, TSA guy, who wishes to be off the naughty list. And says, well, and so they say, hey, we ran into him at the airport. He's actually a pretty nice guy. Maybe you should take him off the naughty list. Sure, I'll take him off the naughty list. And then we flash to the airport where Nathan Lane gets his tricycle.
Yay, tricycle.
I don't know how he's going to ride the tricycle, but he has it now. And he now believes in Christmas.
Huzzah.
Yeah. Huzzah. And finally, the third letter, which is Claire's letter. And all Claire wants for Christmas is to spend it with her friends, the Muppets. You don't need my help for this. Yeah, we can take care of it. Can you drop us off? To which Santa agrees. And we flash back to New York City as the Muppets just show back up home in front of Claire's apartment saying, hey, we're here. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And Claire gets what she wants for Christmas, which is to spend her Christmas with the Muppets. Who wouldn't want to spend Christmas with the Muppets, honestly?
I always want to spend Christmas with the Muppets.
It's a simplistic wish that this little girl could have asked for anything in the world, but this little girl just wants to spend Christmas with the people that mean the most to her. And in her heart, it's her neighbors, the Muppets.
I mean, did she know she could ask to be an opera singer? Because I think if more people knew, they could just ask to.
I mean, if you can ask to be an opera singer, what else could you ask for? Could you ask to be a TV star? Could you ask to be, Shakespearean actor? Get on Broadway? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Power of Santa.
Yeah, this is making me rethink the power of letters to Santa here more than anything else.
Dear Santa, get us more listeners for our podcast.
Is it too late to write that letter?
All right, so
how late is the post office open? Quick.
You and me, we have to get to North Pole. We got to find Uma Thurman, and she'll take us to North Pole. Even Piggy comes back coming back all the way from the Caribbean because she wants to spend Christmas with her Kermit.
Yeah. And it's cute, yeah. And they sing My Best Christmas Yet. Mm-hmm. Another original song. And Claire and her mom get in on the song as well. And all of the Muppets that we have seen so far, and a few we haven't, show up for this one. This contains one scene and one gag that gets pointed to a lot, especially recently, because just this year we had the big controversy of the Gonzarella moment in the new Muppet Babies.
Ah, okay.
So, for those who may not have been following, there was an episode in the new Muppet Babies that has been on Disney Plus, where they had a story where Piggy throws a party of princesses and knights or something like that, and all of the girls were supposed to come as princesses, and all of the boys were supposed to come dressed up as knights. And Gonzo asked to come dressed as a princess, and Piggy says, no, you have to come dressed as a knight. So Gonzo showed up in a mask dressed as a princess, Gonzarella. And at the end of the episode, it's revealed that the masked princess was actually Gonzo, because Gonzo felt more comfortable in a dress, and the Muppets learn a lesson that maybe you should let people be who they are and dress how they want, and sometimes it's okay if you don't follow the stereotypes or whatever.
Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. The princess who came to your ball tonight was me.
But Gonzo, why didn't Vu tell us?
I want to be me.
And this, of course, caused a big controversy of, whatever. Anyway.
Poison our children's minds. What's next? Big Bird getting a vaccine shot?
Yeah. That was the next thing. We won't get into that now. Vaccinate your kids. But this caused several people to point out that, well, Gonzo has been a whatever since the beginning, and being kind of non-specific of gender has been part of Gonzo's deal since the beginning of the Muppets and since the beginning of Gonzo as a character. But people also pointed out that the Muppets as a franchise has had queer themes in it since the beginning. One of which is Bunsen and Beaker's relationship.
I was wondering if you want to talk about that.
Yes.
There is a scene from the Muppets ABC show that got circled because of that Gonzarella, where it is implied that Bunsen and Beaker spent the night together.
Bunsen and Beaker, why are you wearing each other's clothes?
If it happens outside of work, we don't owe him an explanation.
The point is that there has been a running theme of Bunsen and Beaker having a very interesting and unspecified close relationship for the entirety of the Muppets, all the way back to the Muppet Show.
Why, Beaker, you're hauntingly attractive today.
Okay, Beaker, I see you've dressed like a tourist to make the demonstration more realistic. Very cute.
Well, I'm afraid the bucket won't come off, Beaker. But you do look very cute in it.
Yeah, there is an entire page on Muppet Wiki. Shout out to Muppet Wiki, by the way. They are infinitely useful whenever we talk about Muppets. But they have an entire page about Bunsen and Beaker's relationship, and there have been a few people doing Muppets and queerness. Shout out to Matt Baum on YouTube, who just recently did an excellent thing a few months ago about Muppets and queerness, where he talks about the Bunsen and Beaker relationship. But this special has one of the more interesting moments in it, which is, like we said earlier, Beaker wishes for that
supermodel girlfriend,
yeah, hot girlfriend or whatever, and disappears with her. But she's at the party with Claire and her mom at the end, and they're dancing together. Bunsen comes in and asks if he can cut in, and the girlfriend kind of says like, oh yeah, and goes to dance with Bunsen, and Bunsen instead grabs Beaker and dances off with Beaker, and the hot girl is just kind of left there confused. But Beaker seems like
Beaker's into it.
This is of course that's what Bunsen meant, like
Beaker's flexible.
Yeah, Beaker is just kind of like, yeah, no, of course that's, and Bunsen is so thrilled to see Beaker back. I mean, when they show up again, Bunsen is just like, Beaker, you came back, and, so, their relationship has been a running theme that they're not just friends, like they go on vacations together,
they're more than just lab partners.
Yeah, it's really a kind of cool moment just hidden at the end of this this special, which I love.
I mean, it's played for a laugh, but still it kind of works. I mean, again, it's within character of Bunsen that he would want to spend time with Beaker over anyone else.
But it's also in character with Beaker because Beaker is always trying to get Bunsen to give him more credit and, say thank you more and all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of imagine them prior to that scene kind of having a fight.
And then he just wishes for a girlfriend to make Bunsen jealous. And then he
wishes for a hot girlfriend to kind of make Bunsen jealous, and then is like, oh, well, maybe they were having a fight about what they were going to do for their Christmas plans or whatever, and Beaker's like, okay, well, you're not going to give me my due. I'll, wish myself off with a hot girlfriend to make you jealous. And then, but it's not really in seriousness.
And that kind of wraps up this little Muppet Christmas special. Well, what did you think?
I like the twin the twin morals of this special, which is that Gonzo learns to kind of it's the traditional Christmas thing of giving to others, except this is more a gift of service.
Yeah.
And so he does his kind of act of service for somebody else. And then it's the other thing of, being with your chosen family in this instance.
Yeah.
Is more important than the, getting away and all that.
Spending time with loved ones is a key theme of a lot of holiday specials, and even the holidays itself. It's just for this little girl, her loved ones are a frog, a pig, a bear, and whatever.
Yeah, and bears and pigs and chickens and things, as we always say about the Muppets. But I had kind of forgotten about this one, like we said at the beginning. But rewatching it, it's cute. It's adorable. And I was really shocked by how much I really loved Gonzo's character in this. It's such a good Gonzo piece.
He had a great character arc. Like you said, Gonzo messes up at the post office at the beginning of the special, which sets this entire thing in motion. And he does everything possible to make up for this mistake, going literally halfway around the world just to make this little girl happy. Find yourself someone like Gonzo. So I guess we can ask the question, does A Muppet's Christmas Letters to Santa have the magic, Kiki?
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to go down as the greatest Muppets project ever, but it's cute. You know, if you got kids or you're a big Muppets fan, as we are, yeah, give it a watch. It's adorable.
For me, like you said, this is not one of the best Muppet specials, but even the weakest Muppet projects is still the Muppets, which means it's still going to have that Muppet charm. So I'm going to say it does have some magic. Like I said, really, it's Gonzo's character arc throughout this entire movie that saves this movie. This little 1 hour special. Yeah, is this going to go down in history as one of the greatest Christmas specials ever? Probably not. Is this going to be on your top 10 Muppet things? Probably not. But it's still worth the watch.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, or like me, you don't really remember it, it's worth an hour of your time.
Yeah. So let's move on to next week.
So we've got one more episode left in the year, and we thought that we would do the biggest thing for Disney this year, but the question was, what was that? So we went around and we asked some of our faithful listeners, what do you think the biggest thing for the Disney Corporation was in 2021? And we only got one answer in return. So next week, we're doing Loki.
Yep. Out of all of the Disney projects, all the Disney Plus shows, the most anyone wanted to talk about was Loki. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a visit from the TVA next week.
Yeah. So be prepared, because it's gonna be spoilers galore. We're just gonna give our thoughts on just kind of the entire season as a run through, what it means for the next phase of the MCU, what it means for the character in general, just kind of our thoughts on all things Loki, because it seems like that's all y'all wanted us to talk about. So you're going to get it next week as we close out the year.
So yeah, come back next week for Loki. From us here at the podcast to you, our dear listeners, whatever you celebrate this month, have it be a happy and joyous one. And we will talk to you all next time. Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye. Don't let the magic stop here.
Join our conversation online on Facebook at Rewatching the Magic,
Twitter at Rewatch the Magic,
and of course, new episodes every week at rewatchingthemagic.podbean.com.
Special thanks to our friend Ian Bonds for being our holiday announcer. Check out his videos on YouTube at Insane Ian, or on Bandcamp at insaneian.bandcamp.com. Remember, the magic is for everyone.
It only stops if you let it.